Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Rising, and it's the weekly reading for December 9th to the 15th. Capricorn, this week you have the Soul Family Oracle card, you have the Hierophant, the Five of Swords, Strength, the Devil, Death, and the Eight of Swords. So guys, yeah, you have 4 out of 6 major arcana here, so you've got a fairly significant situation going on here. The more major arcana, usually a situation relates to the big themes of life, our soul contracts, life lessons, that kind of thing. So I think you'll know that you're on the threshold of the situation. We're dealing with some energies that are confining, that are definitely keeping you maybe a bit small. We have Devil energy, which is also your card as well. So I feel like it's a personal situation relating to you. You might be dealing with someone who's manipulative. You might be in a codependent situation, but you are really being called to have the strength and courage to bring this to a completion this week. So I'm just going to, before we unpack the cards, I'm just going to start with that Oracle card, Soul Family, read that one out to you. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. It is the time to call in your soul family and support team. People who get you at soul level. People who are the same kind of weird as you. People who are your chosen family. They are coming and they are looking for you. If you haven't found them yet, it's a sign that they are close by. But in order for them to find you and recognize you when they do, it is important that you stop dimming your light and truly let yourself be seen. Yeah, so very interesting, Capricorn. I mean, maybe you're in a situation with people or person, whether it's in work, business or love, or that isn't really your soul family, isn't really a fit for you. And you're definitely being asked to release the situation. Now, when we are dealing with situations that, aren't in alignment with us, with people that have quite different energetic fields from us, maybe denser energies, it can result in conflict. We have the Five of Swords here, which can be a sense of one-upmanship, the quarrels, the arguments, the conflict, the strife, the betrayals, the harsh words. So some of you may have found yourself in these kind of energies recently. Now, at a number 5, this is playing out potentially as conflict, but what really needs to happen is change, because 5 is the number of conflict and change. But when we resist change, often it results in conflict and we can get stuck in that cycle and it can stop us from moving forward. 5 of Swords can be a victory card, but it's a victory that comes at a cost, because maybe you're having to, fight someone for it, even betray someone or deceive someone for it. It's just not worth it, and it's just not the kind of energy that we want to engage in, because that kind of energy really does keep you small. It keeps you bound and confined, and I really feel like this card probably goes with that Devil energy here. Yeah, I think some of you are dealing with an individual that potentially is manipulative, or just the energetics of the situation is making you feel, bound and gagged, restricted, maybe victim mentality, feeling like a bit of a martyr. And it's definitely that feeling of stagnation, of being trapped. Sometimes there's guilt and shame involved in the Eight of Swords as well. But this person, has a clear path out, but she's choosing to stay there because she's kind of blinded by the situation. She doesn't really know that she can free herself. And it's not dissimilar to the lovers here that we see in the Devil card. They are chained to the devil, but those chains are loose enough so they could get them over their heads and free themselves. But once again, they choose to stay because potentially the payoff that they're getting is, for them in that moment, greater than the cost of staying there. So for example, if this is a relationship situation, maybe that sense of codependency, having that safety and protection and security of having that person there, it provides you some sort of greater sense of security than if you should leave them, even though the love might not be there anymore. In a work situation, we could say that we're trapped by the financial gain, even though maybe the job's not going anywhere, or we might be involved in toxicity and office politics in the workplace. But that Devil energy is not sustainable, because it's the energy that over time wears us down and sucks our vital life force from us and takes that energy and basically leads eventually to us feeling defeated and feeling like that victim, which is the Eight of Swords. So we need to really free from that situation, and that's what you're being called to do this week. This situation or person that you might be dealing with could be quite magnetic, and you really could be under their hypnotic spell, but it's really time to see that situation clearly and see it for what it is, so that you can release yourself this week, Capricorn. Because look at the difference too in these two characters. We sort of have the forces of good and evil working here together, the Hierophant. In fact, they could be the same person. I'm definitely getting that sense here. So some of you might be dealing with someone who in one moment is that holier than thou, is that kind of, the angel, and then they turn into the devil. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who is a little bit, changeable in their moods or personality, is two-faced or two-sided. And with that Hierophant, this could be, the key person in the institution of marriage or committed relationship. So it could be a husband or wife or partner. It could also be your boss or mentor or a key figure in the workplace. But what I'm really feeling here is that potentially they have two sides, and maybe you're not even aware of that shadow side or dark side, but there could be some sense of manipulation going on behind the scenes, or they might not make it a secret, and they might just have the ability to flip and get into conflict mode at the drop of a hat. So this is, that combination to be aware of, because it is that kind of unpredictable energy is what I'm feeling. Really feel like this is the same person here that has these two faces that can change at any moment. So really what the universe is asking you to do this week, Capricorn, is have the strength and courage to bring that situation to completion, right? The strength card talks about taming those inner demons, or maybe external ones in this case here, and bringing them back into balance. And when we do that, we unleash our inner potential, our limitless potential as well. So it can talk about having, forgiveness and compassion for ourselves or for others in order to balance a situation. But it's really talking about having that strength and courage to welcome in that death energy that is coming in to clear the slate for you this week, should you allow it. Death energy says that a situation has had its time. It's time for it to come to completion, to pass, to die. The death energy is something that's very certain, because there's nothing more certain in life than the cycle of death and rebirth. But if we don't allow that energy to come in to clear the slate, that's when we find ourselves in that Eight of Swords energy, stuck and bound, stagnant and unable to move forward with our lives. So we really need to be that child who just welcomes the new chapter and goes, yeah, okay, I know change can be uncomfortable, maybe a little bit scary, but why not? Because the child's not really thinking about the pain that's associated with it, like this adult who's pretty much fainting just at the sight of, oh my gosh, I've got to go through an ending. But we have to keep in mind that there is a new chapter, a new dawn, just bursting on that horizon to come through. But you need to obviously clear the past situation first. Now, death rides in with that flower of alchemy, saying that, there really is great spiritual growth and development on hand, offered to you through the situation. So there's going to be so much growth. You're really going to set yourself on a new path, but you must allow in that death energy, Capricorn, because the situation that you're potentially fighting against is unsustainable long term and has the potential to end up in a worse situation, in a tower moment. Even health matters with that devil energy, because it can really deplete I'm definitely hearing adrenal fatigue, those energy resources within yourself. So the time is this week to bring this to a head, and I wish you guys all the best with it. Keep in mind it is a general reading, so it won't necessarily be for every Capricorn. Feel free to leave me a comment if you'd like to share how it's playing out in your daily life, because I always love to hear that. And I'll see you back here next week for another reading.